I just wanted to make a quick channel update video because I know that the style of my content recently has shifted on here. And so I wanted to share kind of what's going on and where the channel is going to be headed, assuming all goes well. I've been producing a lot of much shorter content on here and doing more frequent uploads over the past month or so, and that's going to continue into the summer. There's already a couple months worth of content that I have created that is scheduled out on this channel, and the purpose behind producing this much shorter, more frequent content is to give me time to work on some much bigger projects now that I've got all of that scheduled out without there being a massive content gap for you guys. There's a lot of filmmaking gear that doesn't really need a 10 or 15 minute review that I've made these smaller 1 to 5 minute reviews for. And so that's been able to do some of that bite-sized type content. Now, I don't want to get too much into kind of where we're going yet in super specifics with these bigger projects that I've got coming up. But what I will say is it's going to be a mix of short films, creative video shoots, behind the scenes, and gear tests. I want to really use the gear that I have to the fullest and really see its strengths and weaknesses and what I'm able to create with it. Right now, I've got plans to really utilize the Sony FS5, FX3, FX30, Blazar Remus 50mm, and the Typox Chimera C lenses in a series of micro short films and see both what is the best filmmaking experience and how far I can just push the technology, especially the older camera. I also have a backlog of behind the scenes footage from projects that I've worked on that I want to cut down into something useful and beneficial for everyone. So those videos will hopefully be able to see the light of day soon. In that spirit, I also plan to share a 16-minute sci-fi short film that I shot and edited in January that ended up being one of the most challenging and stressful projects that I have ever worked on, and really want to get candid about what worked, what didn't work, and what I learned making that film that I'll be able to take forward on future projects and hopefully help you not make some of the mistakes that I made. I also want to make some videos talking about filmmaking concepts and the basics of filmmaking and drop some hot takes that I've developed from time to time on topics like chromatic aberration and focus breathing. There is no exact schedule that I've got set up right now for exactly when things are going to roll out, other than that a lot of this should be dropping in the third and fourth quarters of 2025. All of this is part of a larger pivot that I'm working on making on this channel, and that is really to make it be and get back to being a true filmmaking channel, not a gear review channel or, a spec channel or anything like that. Well, obviously I find gear really, really fun. Like every other filmmaker does, I've really been feeling, especially over the last year, that it's coming out at such a rate that it's not possible to keep up with it. And it has become a barrier to my creativity, and I think it's become a barrier to a lot of people's creativity. That feeling that I need a new camera or a new lens or the film just isn't going to look good has stopped or slowed me down from creating projects that I really want to do. That feeling that I need a new camera or a new lens or my film just isn't going to look as great as I want it to has stopped and slowed me from creating so many projects that I wanted to do. That need to have some fancy new camera with all the new specs and frame rates and resolutions to future-proof my work, or that I need the most clinically sharp and perfect or most wacky character-filled lens to get my work to have a specific look that I'm craving has really slowed down my creative process. And I know I'm not alone in this. And over the long term, I don't want to be feeding into that culture anymore. I think it's much more interesting and beneficial and creatively satisfying to take what I have and create something and learn from that process and share it with everyone than sit and talk about specs and gear over and over. From its inception, my channel has always been a little bit of a mix of sharing my work that I have done along with gear reviews and filmmaking tips and tricks. And I used that to justify a lot of unnecessary camera and lens purchases over the years, let's just be honest. So while I do have some more gear reviews in me, mainly the Typox Chimera C lenses and what I have set up and scheduled already over the next few months, I want the bulk of my content not to be near as gear focused as it has been. Gear, of course, is going to be present and discussed as it's a part of the filmmaking process and a pretty big one. But it's not about whether I'm using Sony, Canon, Blackmagic, Fuji, Arri, or Red cameras. It's not about what kind of lens I'm using, Chimera C, Tamron, Sigma, DZO, or whatever other brand of lenses out there. It's about the craft and how I use the tools. So ultimately, I'm working a little bit every day to create content more about filmmaking and not stir up more gear acquisition syndrome for people or myself. Because the truth is that the average person that's watching your videos or your films doesn't know about or care about what you shoot them on. They care about if they're enjoying what you created. But that's really enough of me going on about that for this video. I hope that everyone is excited about the shift that I'm moving towards on this channel, and that should really start to kick into high gear in the next couple months. If you are and you're not subscribed, make sure to hit that subscribe button and drop a comment about what type of content you're most interested in. If you are subscribed, I hope that you will stick around, and I will catch you very, very soon.